Some of the benefits to the area. It really does give us a world-class network. And you know, one of the things we did as being a broadband provider in the area, part of what you have to do, you're not just connecting to whether it's the business or a home, you've got to get to the big internet. You've got to get to the big pipe, to the internet. Well, the cost of that down here in Southern Illinois is extremely high. I mean, and that's why that you don't see a whole lot of other carriers down here, entrepreneurs trying to make a living at it. It's very, very difficult. This is going to allow us to do things like that. We were perfect. When we saw the legislation even come out even before the applications came out, this was perfect for Southern Illinois because a network like we show that you've got on there would never get built in Southern Illinois from a business standpoint. It never would happen. It's needed, though, for our schools and for our hospitals to really survive in this data. I mean, it's amazing the data that has to be transferred nowadays for medical records, and you know, CT scans, anything like that. If you think from a medical standpoint or from an education standpoint, it was going to get harder and harder for us to compete down here. But we knew as a carrier, you can't. There's not a business case to do it. You can't do it. It would only have happened with something like this, and this is really what the program was for. They called it a but-for. You had to prove that but for this program, this would not be built. Well, that was one of the easier parts of our application. It was real easy to show, okay, if we built this on our own money, here's what it would look like. It's like, yeah, you know, so it would never happen. It's going to give competitive pricing for businesses. For you economic development people, this is going to be huge, and you'll see an example later. This is something that businesses of all types are looking for now. Data transmission is such a big part of almost any business now, and the cost of doing that is critical for them. And they won't go somewhere that it's going to would cost as much as it costs here. Being able to participate with the Illinois Century Network is great. And the thing here at the bottom, jobs, jobs, jobs. Well, you know, they had a formula that you'd fill in on our application based on the amount of money that you're getting. And it came up with 158 direct jobs, 157. I think you'll see from our example later, that's really kind of low. And we'll create jobs during the construction of this, but that's such a small part of what will happen. I mean, we've hired a little over 10 people ourselves since this started, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but this is us starting at about 34 employees, so that's a big growth for us. And you know what? For Southern Illinois, that's 10 families now that have good, solid, good-paying jobs. Good jobs, I hope, because Haley's one of those 10 that we brought on through that. So. The construction part's going to be good, but the things that will happen afterwards are really what can make this exciting. I'm not the tech guy, so I ask our tech guys sometimes to give me some stuff, help me understand what this means. The picture on the left, that's kind of what we've been dealing with here in Southern Illinois. We're dealing with a really small highway and lots of traffic. What we're going to be going to, there's still a lot of traffic, but we're going to have a much bigger pipe here to deal with. So it's going to allow us people down here to have access to much, much more information than they were before. Some other examples that they give, and I won't go through every one of these, but like if you were to download over a T1 a Blu-ray disc, or the stuff that would be on a Blu-ray disc, it might take 37 hours. Over a 1 gig fiber connection, it'd be 4 minutes. The last one down there, being able to maybe do one standard definition video conference, which anymore people want high def, especially, and again, I've seen so many articles and examples of hospitals in Missouri that maybe a real high-end hospital is actually monitoring an ER or monitoring places in small town hospitals. Well, you can't do that on a, that's got to be a high definition connection. You know? So there's all sorts of things that we've never even thought about doing out here that get done by having this type of bandwidth available to some of these institutions. So, as you can tell, it's a huge difference of what people might be able to get now. And it used to be when we started back in this in 2002, a T1, man, people thought they were flying if they had a T1. That was fantastic, you know. Now that doesn't meet people's needs. So some of our community colleges in particular, they may have gotten another T1, another T1, you know, they're doing 3 or 4, and it's still not meeting their needs, and they're paying, even from a competitive company like us, they're still paying an arm and a leg to do that, and it's not meeting their needs. This is going to make a big impact. Give you a little bit of our timeline. Again, the notice for funds availability and the application process for round 2 started in January of 2010. We had to have it done by March. And again, you know that it's a very competitive thing. This was going to be the last round. This was it. Southern Illinois didn't have anything after round 1. This was our last chance to try and get something for here. Again, we would have loved to have covered everybody. And if we had a year to go out and get with each town and each school board and each, you know, we might have been able to come up with that, but I'm not, you know, at some point we'd have to go, what are they going to fund and what are they not going to fund? Again, we did the best we could, and we're really excited. I'm very proud of our team that we were successful in this. It was extremely competitive. And what's interesting is the applications were submitted in March. We started due diligence in May, so they took from March to May to evaluate the applications, which they should. I mean, this is the federal government giving our money to somebody to do something. So they took good time doing that. We entered due diligence, which means now we have a team of about 8 or 9 people that are taking our 200-page application and making you verify this and that. They really, you know, put you through the ringer. But again, they should. We have a lot of long nights, but it should be tough to get this type of thing. So the award was announced in 2010. We began our environmental assessment, which was very time-consuming, but we knew that from some of the experience of round 1 people. It's a federal program, so you have to go through all of this, the environmental stuff. So we did a lot of things parallel with it, so that once we got our environmental assessment completed in March, we were able to start construction almost immediately. We were having meetings with cities, trying to start getting rights-of-way set up, meeting Illinois Department of Transportation, IDOT, a lot of engineering, getting with our vendors. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has to go into this, and you have to do it the right way because you are getting federal money, you're getting state money. So there was a lot of work to be done while this environmental is going on. We started construction in March. That was really fast. You know, it seems like a long time from when you get your award in August and you start in March, but that was fast compared to the others. We're actually one of the first round 2 people to start construction. The wet weather sort of got us here a little bit lately, but we're back at it. I talked to the guys today. We're up to about, am I ahead of myself on telling them where we're, I'll tell them.
No, that's fine.
But we've got about 40 miles of conduit in the ground, and that will start picking up quite a bit. And I was told in a meeting this afternoon that we'll actually start putting some fiber in that conduit next week. Conduit, it looks like PVC, it's not, but it's, you know, this orange stuff's about that big. It's really kind of neat. You've been out and seen them put it in, and as we're boring under. We're burying everything. And the main reason we are is we all remember May 8th. You know, so between that and the ice storms we get here, it's like, no, I don't think we want to be above ground if we can avoid it. And from a time standpoint, it's actually a little quicker doing it this way as well. Our target to be completed is February of 2013, we have to be finished by August that year. They don't seem flexible at all on that, which is fine with us. We're kind of, again, we're one of the first ones to get started from round 2, so we like getting things done. So we should be done ahead of schedule. We're actually hoping to have our connection into St. Louis and be down here to Marion and over to Carbondale and Harrisburg. We're hoping by, say, fall this year. That's a lot to do. We don't need any more of the rains and flooding like we've had, so lots of things can get in your way. But we're hoping to do that and start providing service before the end of this year. Would be fantastic. Our CAIs, those are our community anchor institutions. They've all been contacted. So if you have schools, hospitals, or anybody in your area, if they were on our list, they have been contacted. We've actually contracted, got agreements back from about half, a little over half of the anchor institutions. We need to do that because NTIA doesn't necessarily, they don't want you to build a bridge to nowhere. You know, if they don't want it, they don't want you necessarily building it. But everybody wants it. The routes have been selected. We're going through rights of way. Our contracts have been awarded. We've chosen our vendors. So I mean, this is very much we're going. We're pretty excited about that. I mean, Haley, get back over here. Take me to the next one. But again, I'm really proud of our team that we're ahead of schedule. Haley's here. She really is our outreach strategy. I'm 54 years old, getting ready to be 55. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and as I tell people, I know Mike doesn't, but I'm older than Mike when he talks. But I don't tweet, but she does, and so we do. And they've really done a great job. It's a good way for people to stay up to date on where we are with our project, and really it's another way that people use the internet nowadays. So, and they've done a really good job with the stuff that's on there. We've gotten compliments not just within the state, but from the federal side. The guys at NTIA really like what we're putting out there. So we appreciate the work.